Hello, welcome to Swahili Kingdom. So I have seen the votes, and 33% are saying yes, we should redo the Leah noun class. Hello, 33% are saying we should redo the Leah noun class, and 67% are saying we should not redo the Leah noun class. Hello, Daniel. So the one who is suggesting that we redo the Leon answers, which part don't you understand? Which part don't you understand? Please comment down below before we continue, because today we have the easy noun class, the UE noun class, and the sub-noun classes that are in the UE and the easy noun class, which is UYA, UZI, ya, and noun class. We will check all of them today. So please, if you said we should redo the Leah noun class, comment which part you didn't understand so that we can do it. We can redo it right now. Tell us the part that you didn't. And is the volume clear? Please tell me if the volume is clear. Is the volume clear? I hope it's clear, ndio tuweze kuelewana vizuri so that we can understand each other clearly, properly. Oh, thank you. Dan, were you the one who suggested that we should redo the Leah noun class? Or who is the person who suggested we should do the Leah noun class? Thank you so much, Dan, for notifying me that the volume is clear. The person who said that we should redo the Leah noun class, please tell us which part we should do, because the Leah noun class is so large, it's so huge. The Leah noun class is huge. So please tell us where we should redo. Or tell us if you are in so that I can go through it. Tell us if you are in. We just go through it. No, I think we covered the Leah noun class very thoroughly. Yeah, we covered the Leah noun class thoroughly, but I had a poll on my YouTube channel, and I was asking which noun class people didn't understand among the 4 that we had done, and people said they didn't understand the Leah noun class. So today, before we started this live stream, I had a poll again. And people said, someone said we should redo it, but some other members said we should not. So I really don't know who is the person. There is a delay of 30 seconds or more before you are able to read it. I don't know. I think that one is something of the network. I think the network is the problem. The network is the problem. Because, by the way, there is someone who typed here something and I didn't see it. But when I was reviewing my live, I saw the text and I was wondering didn't I see it, and I can see it right now. So I don't know what's the problem with the internet. It has some issues to be fixed. Is the person who suggested about the Leah noun class around? If you are around, please just tell us. Yes. You you ask us a question and then you probably think we've not answered you, but even if we answer you immediately, the delay might make it seem like we are not answering. Yeah, it is very frustrating. It is very frustrating. Leah noun class. Okay, let's just redo the Leah noun class so that we will not be out of time when the time reaches for us to part our ways, because we have the easy noun class, and the easy is huge. We have the easy and the noun class. The easy is also known as the noun class. The noun class. Then you have the noun class. And in those noun classes, there are sub-noun classes in them, like uya, uzi, and ee. Yeah, yeah. So four others, but those one are small because they are sub noun classes of this easy and noun class. So let's redo the Leah noun class. Then I will just touch on some things about the Leah noun class, and then we will continue. We'll start with the easy noun class. Okay, we say the Leah is comprised of noun classes that starts with a ma in plural and any vowel in singular. Leah is comprised of nouns that starts with a ma in plural and any vowel in singular. Adjectives and numbers take no prefix in singular unless they begin with a vowel, prefix ma, plural. Adjectives and numbers take no prefix in singular unless they begin with a vowel. So adjectives and numbers do not take any prefix in the Leah noun class. Adjectives and numbers do not take any prefix in the Leah noun class unless they start with a vowel. Okay? Sentences use Leah. Sentences use Leah. Example, jicho linauma. Example, jicho linauma. Li, jicho, jicho linauma. Jicho linauma. An eye is hurting. Hello, Emmanuel Mix Vlogs. Welcome, welcome. So I was talking about the Leah noun class. It uses, in a sentence, it uses li in singular and ya in plural. Jicho linauma. Macho yanauma. An eye is, what do we call aching? Or an eye is hurting. Eyes are hurting. Jicho linauma. Macho yanauma. Jicho linauma. Macho yanauma. So I think there is no much to be covered in this noun class. And I think we even gave examples at the end. By the time we finish, at the time we finish this video, I will give you guys a link for the Leah noun class, specifically for the Leah noun class. It will be posted in my community, in my YouTube channel, because it doesn't have a lot to talk about, because we talked about a lot of this noun class in that previous video, and the person who had said that he or she did not understand hasn't told us where they didn't understand exactly, because it is hard to go all over again to talk about everything. Okay, I'm sorry for that, to that person who is not telling us, because we can't know where your problem is if you are not telling us. Tell us where your problem is and we are going to help you. Tell us even in the middle of this session, we will help you. So let's continue with the easy noun class. The easy noun class, or the noun class, has non-living things. As I told you, living things are only in the our noun class. Living things are only in the our noun class. And an addition I want to give you, Our noun class contains living things. What if those things die? Because living things die, right? What if those things die? Which noun class do they belong to? Like a fish. A fish belongs in the our noun class because it is a living thing. Samaki samaki amepotea. Samaki amepotea. A fish has gotten lost. Our noun class, because it will be samaki wamepotea. Samaki wamepotea. Fish has gotten lost. Many fish. So what if the fish dies? Because when you get the fish out of water, it dies. So what if the fish dies? It will belong to the easy noun class. Easy noun class. Samaki imepotea. Samaki imepotea. A fish has gotten lost. So don't get confused when you see hour, an hour noun, in the easy noun class. Okay, they use an hour noun in the easy noun class when it has died, when it loses its life. But when you come to people, yes, when someone dies, they will say maiti. A dead body in Swahili is called maiti. Maiti, generally, a dead body. Dead body. So a dead body is called maiti in Swahili. A dead body, or is it? Yeah, a dead body. It is called maiti. Yeah, a corpse. It is called maiti. So when someone dies, like maiti, sometimes they will use our or easy. Why? They use our because they are giving that person respect. They will say, some people will say, maiti amepotea. Maiti amepotea. A corpse has been lost. A corpse has been lost. That is giving respect to the corpse. When you use our noun class, that is giving respect to the corpse. But you can use the easy noun class because living things that are dead are considered to be in the easy noun class in the Swahili. So you can say maiti imepotea. Maiti imepotea. That is just general. You are saying a corpse has gotten lost. That is general. But when you want to give it respect, call it, use the our noun class. Say maiti amepotea. So that is the thing that I wanted to clarify from the our noun class. I hope it is clear. You use our for the living things alone, and when the living things are dead, you use the easy noun class. And to give them respect, continue using the our noun class. So that is it. And a corpse is called a maiti. Maiti. So when you hear someone saying maiti amepotea or maiti imepotea, I hope you will know how to differentiate them. Because if you don't know, you might get confused. Mighty is something that is dead. It should be in another noun class. Why is it used in the our noun class and sometimes used in the easy noun class? So that is the reason. Let's continue with the easy noun class. The easy noun class. So easy comprises of non-living things without a plural form and foreign borrowed nouns, no plural forms. Easy, most of the easy nouns are foreign. Most of the easy nouns are foreign and they don't have a plural. So that is the easiest thing. And this noun class sometimes is called the noun class, the NN noun class, because it does not have a plural. And most of the things there are foreign. They are not from the Bantu. So let's see how it takes which prefixes it takes with the adjectives or the numbers. So in Swahili, nouns can stand. Let me write this for you. And please, you can write any question that you have. You can comment any question that you have about anything that you have talked about and you haven't understood. I will clarify, or if someone else has heard what we've talked about and they understand it, they will clarify it for you. So in Swahili, the noun class, N can only stand before a D, N can only stand before a D, a J, a G, a D, a J, a G, and a Z. N can only stand before a D, a D, a J, a G, and a Z. And with numbers, that is with adjectives. That is with nouns, sorry. With nouns, N can only stand before a D, a J, a D, a J, a G, and a Z. And with numbers. So this one is with nouns and with numbers. The N can only stand before these vowels. If the vowels precede, if the vowels starting the noun do not start with N. I mean, if the first vowel of the noun do not start, do not start with with these consonants, it cannot have an N. N, and in Swahili nouns, N can stand before a D, a G, a J, and a Z. In Swahili nouns and numbers only. The N is not used in any other. Like for example, the word ngoma. The word ngoma is in this noun class. Ngoma is a drum. Ngoma hupigwa, a drum. Ngoma. Ngoma is a drum. Ngoma. Let me write for you the spelling. Ngoma is a drum. For example, for the word ngoma, it will not have any prefix. For example, with a number. Instead of saying ngoma and putting an N, you will say ngoma moja, ngoma moja. Like you can't put an N before consonants that do not start with a D, a J, a G, or a Z. For example, this word moja begins with an M. So with nouns and numbers, you can only put an N before these consonants, only before these consonants. So moja starts with an M. So you cannot put an N before an M. There is no sound like that in Swahili. But these four can make a Swahili sound. When you put an N before a D, it becomes ndi. An N before a J, it becomes G. An N before a G, no, I have never seen an N before a G. An N before a Z becomes Z. So these are the only consonants that you can put an N. But when we are talking about one drum, it will be ngoma moja. So you will take the moja as it is, without using the prefix N. Without using the prefix N. Okay? Ngoma moja. And what about when we want to use the word dogo? Do you know what is the meaning of dogo? Dogo means something small. It is an adjective. Dogo. So it is used as dogo, then you prefix it with the correct, according to the correct noun class. Like when you use it here, let's say ngoma, a small drum. How will you say a small drum? we have said you use adjective dogo, and then a drum is ngoma. Use the adjective ndogo, and then dogo, not ndogo, sorry. Use the adjective dogo, and then did you just? I have never seen an N before a G, but you wrote, yeah. Thank you so much, Daniel. I'm a bit confused right now. Thank you so much, Daniel. Thank you for that. Ngoma, Ngoma already shows that it is an N before a G. So the consonants that you can put an N before, I have I have written them here. You have D, J, G, and Z. So for example, we want to write a small drum in Swahili. And dogo is the root that you should use, because dogo means small in Swahili, and the word drum is ngoma. So how are we going to write it? Thank you so much, Daniel. How are we going to write it? How are we going to write the word a small drum? Remember, in Swahili, there is nothing like an article, like we don't have a or the specifically. We don't have a or the specifically. So how will we write a small drum? We have dogo as the root, which means small in Swahili. And ngoma is a drum. Ngoma is a drum. So how are we going to write a small drum? How will we write a small drum? A small drum. Yes. Ngoma ndogo. Ngoma ndogo. Very good, Daniel. Thank you so much for answering. Why did he use ndogo instead of just writing ngoma dogo? Because we have said the consonants that you can put an N, the consonants that you can put an N before them. D, J, G, and Z. Ngoma ndogo. Ngoma, what if you want to say a clean drum? We'll use the root safi. Safi means clean. Safi means clean. And then we have ngoma, which is a drum. Ngoma is a drum, safi is clean. So how can you say a clean drum? How can you say a clean drum? Because with a small drum, we have said it's ngoma ndogo. You put the N, you prefix the N to the word dogo. Okay, because the word dogo begins with a D. And we've said with the words beginning with D, J, G, and Z, you prefix them with N. The other words, you don't prefix them. You write them the way they are, either adjective or numbers. So how will you say a clean drum? Clean is safi. The root word is safi. Ngoma is a drum. So how can you say a clean drum? How can you say a clean drum in Swahili? Just type there. How can you say a clean drum in Swahili? Yes, it will be ngoma safi, because safi cannot entertain the prefix N. There is no such sound like that in Swahili. Safi cannot entertain the prefix N. You cannot say ngoma safi, ngoma safi. No, it is ngoma safi. So it is that simple. If the first word of the root word, or the adjective or the number, begins with a D, a J, a G, or a Z, you can prefix N. But if it doesn't, write it the way it is. Don't prefix the N. As simple as that. So that is the first rule you should know. I'm getting a lot out of this lesson. I never understood why some adjectives get a prefix and some don't, even with the same. Okay, that's good. If you are understanding a lot, that is good. So that is one of the things you should note about the easy noun class. And I hope you remember what we said the easy noun class is. How can you identify a noun to be in the easy noun class? They don't have a plural. And most of them, many in fact, are foreign nouns. Many of them are foreign nouns. How can you identify a Bantu noun and a foreign noun? You can check my video in this channel. I have talked about the Bantu, how to identify a Bantu and an Arabic or a foreign noun which is not from which is not a Bantu, so that you can know when you get a verb, you can easily know this is an easy verb because it doesn't have a plural. This is an easy verb because it is very foreign. And maybe when you form them, when you form it when you form it with an adjective, it doesn't have an n, or it has an n. Like there are many characteristics for you to check out so that you can know a certain noun class. So I hope you have known the first point of the easy noun class, or the noun class. You can identify it with that one point. N, N before B or V are not found in Swahili. N before B or V are not found in Swahili. So what do? Instead of that, they change the sound to M. So N, they are saying N before B and V. So adjectives or numbers beginning with B or V, adjectives or numbers beginning with B or V, you should not prefix it an N, but they should have a prefix. So which prefix should they have? Adjectives or numbers beginning with a B or a V should not be prefixed by an N. Which prefix should they be prefixed with? Because they should have a prefix. So the sound is changed from N. Don't prefix an N. Use an M. Prefix an M. Okay? So adjectives or numbers beginning with B or V, prefix an M instead of an N, because there is no such sound that has an N and a B or an N and a V in Swahili. You can only get an M and a B or an M and a V. Okay? So let me repeat again. Adjectives or numbers beginning with B or V, they should have a prefix. Adjectives beginning with B or V, they should have a prefix, but it shouldn't be an N. It should not be an N. Use an M. Use an M instead. That is the way it should be. I hope you have gotten that one. Another important point to note, because some people will get confused. We usually prefix an N. Why should we use a B? Is this an easy noun class? Or which noun class is this? Why are we prefixing an M? Where is the M coming from? So I hope you have gotten that one. Should I go to the next point? Should I go to the next point? Should I go to the next point? For example, we have nouns that like we have mbegu, we have mbegu, we have mboga, and someone can give us adjectives that begins with B or V so that we can form. And another thing for you to note an easy noun class easily, nouns that the second letter that begins with MB or MV and they are non-living things, they are in this class. Nouns that begins with MB or MV and they are non-living things, they belong to this class. An example, we have the word mvua. Mvua. Rain. Let me write. Mvua, rain. Mvua, rain. Mvua is an easy noun class. It begins with an MV. Nouns that begins with an MV or MB and they don't have, they are non-living things. Just know they belong in this noun class. Please write that point. So to summarize, okay. For example, mvua, rain, mboga, mboga. Let's see what Dan has said. If the adjective begins with D, J, G, and Z, use N as a prefix. Yes. If the adjective begins with anything else, don't use a prefix. Yes, if the adjective begins with anything else, don't use a prefix. Just like that. Let me give you the nouns. We have the nouns that begins with MB and MV. I had written here like 4. We have mbegu, mbegu, seed. We have mvua, mvua, rain. We have mvi. Mvi is it white or gray hair? Is it called white hair or green hair? Green hair. Then we have mboga. Mboga is vegetable. Vegetable. So those are some of the nouns that belong to this easy noun class that you can identify easily. I've just given you the. I've written hi mboga. No, it is mboga. I'm sorry, it is mboga. Mboga, vegetable. Mboga. Yes. Mboga. So I've given you the 4 nouns. I think there are 4. Mbegu, seeds. A seed, mbegu. Because it doesn't have a plural, of course. So it will be mbegu hii, mbegu imepotea, mbegu hizi, mbegu zimepotea. Mbegu hii, mbegu hizi, hizi. Mbegu imepotea, mbegu zimepotea. Mbegu nzuri, mbegu nzuri, mbegu nzuri. You see, the zuri starts with a Z. So we prefix an N. We prefix an N. Mbegu nzuri, mbegu nzuri. Mbegu mbaya, mbegu mbaya. What did we say about adjectives or numbers that begin with a B or a V? We prefix M instead of N. We prefix M instead of N. Mbegu mbaya, mbegu mbaya. It begins with a B, baya, baya. So when you want to use it with the word mbegu, you will have to prefix it with an M. Mbegu mbaya, mbegu mbaya. Please write the nouns that I have given. Mvua, mvi. There is another one, another noun which begins with an MV, which is mvinyo. But is gray a noun? I thought it was. No, it is. No, it is gray hair. The gray hair. I'm sorry. I wrote mvi is gray hair. Spellings are. It is gray hair. The gray hair when someone gets old, or I don't know. The others who are young and they still have the gray hair. So movie is the gray hair. I'm sorry for this wrong spelling. I'm sorry for the wrong spelling. So I think we have finished everything with this now. So let me summarize everything about this noun class. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much. I'm glad that you have understood. So thank you so much. This noun class, easy, it is comprised of non-living things. The only noun class that comprises of living things is the our or the moi noun class. So this one comprises of the non-living things with no plurals. With no plurals. And these non-living things, many of them are foreign nouns. Many of them are foreign nouns. Okay, they are foreign words. They are not like literary Bantu. They are foreign words, and they don't have a plural. Okay, they don't have a plural. And prefixing it, we have said you only prefix an n when the you only prefix an n when the adjective or the number, or in the plural, when it begins with a D, a J, a G, or a Z. Where did I write that? You will only prefix a plural, an adjective, or a number when it begins with a D, a J, a G, and a Z. Okay? You'll only prefix a noun, a plural of a noun, an adjective or a number when it begins with a D, a J, a G, or a Z. Only those four. If they don't begin with that, do not prefix them with anything. Just leave them, except for nouns that begin with a B, or nouns that begins with a B or a V. Nouns or adjectives that begins with a B or a V, which instead of prefixing them with an N, you use an M. Instead of using an N, use an N, M, M, M. M for mat, an M. Instead of using an N. So how many consonants use a prefix in the easy noun class? We have D, J, G, Z, M, and V. D, G, J, D, G, I'm confused. We have D, those that use the N prefix, we have D, G, J, and D, G, J, and what's the last one? What's the last one? What's the last one? I'm forgetting. D, G, J, and Z. I have remembered. D, G, J, and Z use the N prefix. And then the ones that use the M prefix, instead of prefixing it with an N, we have V and B. V and B. So for example, the root word buyer, it is an adjective for bird. And mboga is a vegetable. So instead of saying mboga and then you add n, it becomes mbaya. It doesn't even sound real. So it will be mboga mbaya. You will add an M because the adjective begins with a B. If the adjective begins with a B or a V, you add an M instead of an N. If it begins with a J, a D, a Z, or a G, you add an N. Example, ngoma ndogo. Ngoma ndogo, a small drum. Kitu chengine chenye niliwaambia kuhusu hii ngeli ni kitu chengine chenye niliwaambia kuhusu hii ngeli ni nomino nyingi katika hii ngeli, au ukiona nomino yoyote inayoanza kwa m, v au mb, jua iko kwenye hii ngeli. Another thing that I told you about this noun class is that when you see any noun starting with an MV or an MB, just know it is from this class. It is from this noun class. For example, mvua. Mvua, it begins with MV. Jua iko katika ngeli ya EZ. Example, mvua imeisha. Mvua imeisha. Rain has stopped. Mvua imeisha. The plural will be mvua zimeisha. Mvua zimeisha. So you see, it doesn't have a plural. But what tells you that it is in plural? It is the noun class. EZ. Imeisha, zimeisha. Imeisha, zimeisha. So that is the summary for the whole noun class. The EZ noun class or the N noun class, the NN noun class. If you have any question about this noun class, please write it. Write any question about this noun class, because it has like 5 things you need to remember about it. 5 things you need to remember about it. It is not like general, but all the nouns goes with mine, plural, in singular. It is not like that. We have talked about the consonants that use the N as a prefix, the consonants that use the M as a prefix, which letters when you see them you should know. You should know at first that those nouns are from this class. Okay, we have talked about the consonants that do not take any prefix. Okay, so shall I give the examples? Let me start writing the examples as you write your question. I have almost 20 examples here. Kahawa. So the way I'm going to do it like all the other times, I'm only going to type these examples in Swahili. And if you don't know any examples, just ask. Because the limit for writing here is 200 words. Or maybe I should just write in English and Swahili. I will post the first time, then after you finish, I post again. Coffee, then sukari. Sukari is sugar. Chumvi nyama. Chumvi salt. You can post your questions. Nyama meat. If you have any question, and write some notes, because without the notes, I don't know how you will get away with Swahili noun classes. Write some notes. Adjective prefixes, they are the same for singular and plural. Is both a bad vegetable and yes. Yes, please guys see Dan's comment. Glib Jamba. He said adjective prefixes, they are the same for singular and plural. So mbogambaya is both a bad vegetable and bad vegetables. Yes. Yes. The only thing that changes is when you write the sentence. It should be mboga, I in singular, and mboga, Z in plural. For example, mboga imeharibika. Mboga imeharibika. A vegetable has gone bad. Mboga imeharibika. Imeharibika. And in plural, you write mboga zimeharibika. Mboga zimeharibika. But when it's all about the adjectives and numbers, it is written the same way, because this noun class don't have a plural. So mbogambaya is the same. It is the same bad vegetable and bad vegetables. It is the same thing. Mboga mbaya, mboga mbaya. Mboga nzuri, mboga nzuri. Mboga kali, mboga kali. Mboga chachu, mboga chachu. It is the same. There is nothing to change. So that is the easiest part of this noun class. The hardest part is that you have a lot of things that you need to take into consideration when you are dealing with it. Chupa, faida, profit. Another question. Another question. Please check what Dan has asked. I left 2 comments. You only saw the same. Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. So for sentence formation, singular and plural are different. E for singular, Z for plural. But yeah, that is true. For sentence formation, use E and Z. But for the others, the adjective and the numbers, you only use the one. Mboga nzuri, mboga nzuri. Mboga mbaya, mboga mbaya. It means nice vegetable, nice vegetables. It doesn't have a plural. You write it the way you have written it in singular. But when you are forming a sentence, that's when you include the Z to signify that it is in the plural. I'm sorry I hadn't seen the comments. I mean my internet, I think my internet is slow because of the way I'm getting your notification. I need to be I need to be counter checking, and every time I have seen a comment, I check the one that is above it, if I have read it or not. Thank you, Dan. So I'm writing the examples for you. We have nazi. Nazi is coconut. Coconut. Habari means. So I hope when you get nouns from this class, you will be able to tackle them. Siku, day, you will be able to tackle nouns from this class. Ta, lamp, saa, hour, hour or watch. Saa is an hour or watch. Saa is an hour or a watch. Please write the nouns that I have written, that they are on your screen. All those nouns are from the easy noun class. Easy noun class. Meza, table. Meza, table. Huzuni, sorrow. Huzuni, sorrow. Ask any questions that you have. Ask any questions that you have. Tende, date. And do you remember when we were talking about trees? A date tree, a tree that has dates. We categorized it in the me noun class, but now its fruit is in the easy noun class. A date is in the easy noun class. Easy noun class. Another thing, we have furaha. Furaha is in the easy noun class. I think you all know what furaha is. Happiness or joy. Hesabu, numbers, or counting, count, or sum. Hatari, danger. Danger. Nguvu, strength. Have you finished writing the nouns? Here are the other ones. That one, nguvu, I have written it the wrong way. I'm sorry. The last noun is nguvu. Nguvu, nguvu. Strength. My God. Nguvu is strength. Nguvu is strength. If you have finished writing all of them, someone can construct a sentence here. Maybe by saying um, nyama. Can you use can you use nyama? Nyama is meat. Nyama is meat. And let's say the word raw meat. Raw or something that is uncooked is called bichi. The root word is bichi. 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 So how can you say raw meat? Nyama plus bichi. So how will you say? Can you say nyama bichi? Nyama bichi. How can you say that? Nyama plus bichi. Raw meat. Nyama plus bichi. Raw meat. It will be nyama bichi. You will add an M because it begins with a B. Adjectives or numbers that begins with a B or V, you add an M. Nyama bichi. Bichi. Raw meat. Nyama. Yes, you are so good, Daniel. Congratulations. Nyama mbichi. Raw meat. I hope after here, you guys are going to be pros when it comes to noun classes. So let's go to the next noun class, which is the OO noun class. OO noun class. I hope you have understood. I hope you have understood all about the easy noun class. I hope you have understood all about the E noun class. The rules that I have talked about, not actually the rules, the points. The points that you should note, they are a bit, they are like 5. Don't know 5 or 4. I hope you have understood. If you have not understood, tafadhali uliza. Please ask. Tafadhali uliza kama haujaelewa. Please ask if you haven't understood. Okay, let's continue with the UU noun class. UU noun class. If you haven't understood the easy noun class, tafadhali uliza, tutarudia. I can see Daniel has understood it. By how he is forming the sentences, the adjective and the noun. But I don't know about the others who are watching. Maybe you have not understood it and you are pressed to say it or something like that. Just say it. Tutakusaidia. You know, in Swahili, kama unajua ngeli, Kiswahili chako kitakuwa rahisi. Kwa Kiswahili, kama unajua kwa lugha ya Kiswahili au kwa lugha, kama unajua ngeli, Kiswahili chako kitakuwa rahisi. In Swahili, if you know the noun class, your Swahili will be easy because everything revolves around the noun class. Everything revolves around the noun class, about the adjectives, the numbers, the nouns in plural, forming sentences, everything revolves around the noun class. So if you don't understand anything, ask. Okay. The UU noun class, all nouns begin with U. Very easy. Very, very easy. All nouns begin with U in the singular and wa before a vowel. So all nouns in the UU noun class begins with U. But there are other nouns which begins with W before a vowel. They are in the UU noun class. There are other nouns that begins with wa before a vowel, which are in the UU noun class. Let's say, for example, An example of an UU noun class is the word ugonjwa. Ugonjwa begins with an U. Ugonjwa is an illness or a disease. For example, the word ugonjwa. Ugonjwa is in the UU noun class. It begins with an U. Okay, it is in the UU noun class. Ugonjwa is an illness or a disease. We have said all nouns, almost all nouns that begins with U are in the UU noun class. And most of them don't have a plural. Most of them doesn't have a plural. We will tackle about some others that have a plural, and those plurals are taken from other noun classes. That's why I said there are sub-noun classes, like in this UU noun class. And why are there sub-noun classes in this noun class like UU? Because UU does not have a plural form. But there are some nouns that have plural forms, and those nouns are categorized in sub-nouns. Okay, those nouns are put in sub-nouns because they have a plural, and UU states it doesn't have a plural. So an example of an UU noun class, we've said UU nouns begin with an U. An example, we have ugonjwa. Ugonjwa. And we said begins with an U or any noun that begins with a W, and the second word or the second letter is a vowel. The second word or the second letter is a vowel. That is from an UU noun class. An example is wimbo, a song. Wimbo, a song. Wimbo is in the UU noun class. Why? Because it begins with a W and the second letter is a vowel. It begins with a W and the second letter is a vowel. So it is an UU noun class. Wimbo huu, it is an UU noun class. So let's continue. You have understood those 2 points. When you see a noun beginning with an U, just know it is from the UU noun class. Or when you see a noun beginning with a W and the second letter is a vowel, just know it is from the UU noun class. So those are the 2 signs that can show you at first glance. When you just see a noun, those are the 2 signs that can show you this noun is from the UU noun class. Those are the 2 signs that can tell you. But why do you say that nouns in this class have no plural? Songs have the plural. Songs have the plural, and the plural for a song, wimbo, is nyimbo. I have said UU states that it doesn't have plurals. It doesn't have plurals. But I said there are some other nouns in this noun class that have plural forms, and they are categorized in sub-nouns under this UU noun class. Because their plurals are formed differently. But UU generally doesn't have a plural form. UU generally doesn't have a plural form. But there are some nouns in the UU noun class that have a plural form. And those nouns are categorized in sub-nouns of the UU noun class. Like the sub-nouns I'm talking about is like the yaya, the uya, the ii, and the uzi. You see, those are other 4, but they are not among the main Swahili noun classes. The main Swahili noun classes are 6. This is the 6th one we are discussing. But this 6th one has some sub-noun classes in it. Why? Because in those sub-noun classes, we have plural forms. But UU does not have plural forms. It clearly states that it doesn't have plural forms. I hope you got me, or you are getting me, Daniel. If you are still not getting me, please tell me. I repeat again. I will repeat again. I said, I say, so will you tell us which of the noun classes are pure E? Truly, let me put it here. So will you tell us which nouns are pure, i.e. they truly do not have any plural, and which ones being in the, yes, I'm going to tell you. I will tell you that one. And that's why we are going to go through each sub-noun class and how the plural is formed, and which nouns do not have plurals in this noun class. Okay? Okay. So those are the 2 points to notify you that this is an UU noun class. Another thing that can notify you that this is an UU noun class, the nouns in the UU noun class cannot be separated. Nouns in the UU noun class cannot be separated. Most of them are abstract nouns. Nouns in the UU noun class cannot. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Daniel. I hope the other people who are watching, my other viewers, have understood, not just Daniel. And if you have not understood, kama haujaelewa, tafadhali uliza. If you have not understood, please understand. I'm sorry, please ask. Uliza, kuuliza is to ask. To understand is kuelewa. So tafadhali uliza kama haujaelewa. I was saying another thing to alert you that this is an UU noun class. These nouns cannot be separated at all. Cannot be separated at all. For example, ugonjwa, you can't separate a disease. It is something that you can't separate a disease. That is just a fact. Another thing, wimbo, a song. Wimbo, a song. You can't separate a song. You can't separate a song. So and they are abstract nouns, most of them. They denote, what are abstract nouns? Abstract nouns denote qualities and states. They are formed from adjectives by prefixing an "u". They are formed from adjectives by prefixing an "u". An example is the noun uzuri. Uzuri is kindness or goodness. Let me write it. Uzuri, kindness. I have to make sure that my spelling is correct this time. Uzuri is kindness or goodness. And this one is an abstract noun. Why? Because it is derived from an adjective. An adjective, zuri. Zuri means nice. It is a root of an adjective. Zuri is nice. So they prefixed an "u" to make it a noun. And those kinds of nouns are found in the UU noun class. Those kinds of nouns are found in the UU noun class. As we have said, or as we said, nouns in the UU noun class begins with U. Begins with U. So uzuri is in the UU noun class. That is an example of a noun formed from an adjective. They are formed from adjectives by prefixing an "u", and from nouns by changing the class prefix to "u" or before a vowel "w". So other UU class nouns denote a substance which can be regarded as a collection of small things. Another thing to note about the UU noun class, there are nouns in that class that denotes a substance, something like a collection of things. A collection of things. An example is unga. Unga. It begins with an "u", and again, it is a collection of things. Unga is flour. Flour. Flour is unga. How will you know it is an UU noun class? First of all, it begins with an U. It begins with an U. And secondly, it is a collection of small things. Like, do do you know, like, you know how flour looks like, right? It is a collection of some small things. Okay, it is not a solid thing, and it is not a liquid. It is a collection of some small things. Okay, it is a collection of some small things. Some concrete nouns here. Have you understood? I'm very fast, I'm sorry. Have you understood about that rule? How to know at instant if this is an U noun class? Yes, you can see a noun beginning with an U, but what if it is from another noun class? You can do it like this. If it begins with an U and it is a collection of small things, just be sure it is an UU noun class. Be sure it is an UU noun class. Some concrete nouns here take the plural of the EZ. Those were the things I was talking about. So some concrete nouns here take a plural of the easy noun class. We have just finished talking about the easy, how to form the plural, which letters you should prefix an n, which letters you should prefix an m, which letters should not be prefixed, and all about that. I hope you understood them, because the uzi is also the easy is also going to appear here. And from the easy, that's where we get the subnoun class of the uzi, because the singular of the noun is from the uu noun class. U, so that's why it starts with an u. But the plural is from the easy noun class. So it ends with the z. It becomes an uzi. Noun class uzi. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Daniel. So I was talking about some concrete noun class here. Take the plural of the easy noun class. And there is where we get the subnoun class called the uzi. The uzi. Why is it called the uzi? Because its singular is from the uu noun class. Its singular is from the uu noun class, but its plural is from the easy noun class. Its plural is from the easy noun class. An example is the word wimbo. An example is the word wimbo. Wimbo is in the uzi noun class. Uzi is a subnoun class in the easy noun class. Why? Because uzi, because this uzi noun class has its plural from its singular from the uu and its plural from the easy. That's why they named it uzi. And an example, I gave the word wimbo. An example, I gave the word wimbo. And that brings me to the question that Dan was asking me earlier about the word wimbo. I gave the word wimbo as an example of the uu noun class, and Dan was asking me that wimbo has a plural. So this is the point, Daniel. Make sure you take this point. Make sure you take this point. Wimbo has a plural, which is nyimbo. Wimbo is equals to nyimbo. Songs. Wimbo is equals to nyimbo. It has a plural, but it is in the uu noun class under the subnoun class uzi. Under the subnoun class uzi. Why uzi? Because its singular is in the uu noun class and its plural is in the easy noun class. So wimbo, nyimbo, how did we get to the nyimbo instead of how could, I don't know, how would it have been? How did we get the nyimbo? We have used the plural form of the easy. By now you know how to form the plurals of the one of the noun class easy. We have talked about it. By now I hope you know how to form the plurals, the plural of the easy noun class. So another thing you need to note is that a noun, an easy noun class, I'm sorry to bring you back to the easy noun class. We said you add an N to a word that begins with a D, a J, a G, and a Z. Another word you need to add is an N. I mean a Y, a Y. You add an N to words beginning with a D, a J, a G, a Z, and a Y. I'm sorry, I'm going to repeat it again. You add an N to words beginning with a D, a J, a G, an a D, a J, a G, a Z, and a Y. And a Y. So the word wimbo becomes nyimbo. The word wimbo becomes nyimbo. The word, if you can't form some plurals of this, some plurals of these nouns, please just write them as we continue the lesson. Just write them singular plural as we continue, because there are some nouns that will be a bit tough for you to form the plural if you have not yet understood the noun classes. And I know it will take time for you to understand the noun classes even after this lesson. I know it is not that easy. So wimbo is in the uzi noun class. We have wimbo. Let me write all those words. We have wimbo, we have wembe. Wembe is a razor blade which forms nyembe. It is also in the uzi noun class. It is also in the uzi noun class. Wembe is a razor blade. A razor blade is wembe. Plural is nyembe, razor blade. But it is in the uu noun class. Under the subnoun class uzi. Uzi. Why is it called an uzi noun class? Because its plural is in the uu noun class. But its singular is in the uu noun class. And its plural is in the easy noun class. So it takes the two. Uzi. Okay? Uzi. We have another one, wakati, wakati and nyakati. Wakati and nyakati. Have you ever wondered how these things change? Like you come from wakati and you get nyakati. So this is how it goes. It is in the uzi noun class, a subnoun class of the uu noun class. Time, times. Time, times. Another one we have is waraka. Waraka, nyaraka. But let me leave it at there. Let me give you those three because those are the most common that you are going to find either in books, in writing, in speaking. Those are the things that you're going to find. Another point to note, I hope you have written the point you have finished. I have another point that you need to note. With B or W, N makes MB. With B or W, N makes MB. And with I or R, ND. and with the other letter, N disappears. Okay, let me repeat this. With B, if an adjective begins with B or W, you don't prefix it with an N. You don't prefix it with an N, but you use M to make it MB, to make it MB. And with I or R, you use N, so it will be ND. You use ND to be ND. ND. So we have mbo, 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 and ND. And with other letters, the N will just disappear. An example, we have the word ubao. How do you make the word ubao in plural? How do you make the word ubao in plural? Ubao is a board, a, a blackboard or a whiteboard. Ubao, a board. But it is not a chopping board. It is not a chopping board. It is a blackboard or a whiteboard. The one that teachers used to write. The one that teachers used to write. The one that teachers used to write on. So let's use the example of the word ubao. How do you make the word ubao in plural? We have said with B or W, N makes MB. So here we are looking at the second letter, or we are looking at the consonant. We are looking at the consonant. The word starts with an U, ubao. But what is the next letter? It is a B. And we said if a word, a noun begins with a B or a W, if a noun begins with a B or a W, you make it BMB. You make it BMB. Or you remove the U and add an M. You remove the U and add an M. For example, this noun, ubao, a board, its plural will be mbao. Mbao. Ubao, mbao. If a noun begins with, it is not beginning, but the second vowel. I mean the first vowel. The first vowel. The second word. If the second word begins with a B, or if the second word is a B or a W, it should start with an MB. It should start with an MB, the plural. Or you just omit the U and insert an M instead. So ubao, the plural of the word ubao becomes mbao. The plural of the word ubao becomes mbao. And what do you prefix with to its adjectives? You will prefix it with an M. You will prefix it with an M. For example, ubao mzuri. Ubao mzuri. Ubao mzuri. You prefix it with an M in singular. You prefix it with an M. What about the plural? You prefix it with an N. Mbao mzuri. Please write these because somehow they are many things. They are complicated. So please make sure you write every point. Please make sure you write every point. Let me repeat it again. If a noun, the first vowel begins with a B or a W, its plural should start with an MB. Or you just remove the U and you add the M. You add an M, you infix an M. If a noun first consonant after the vowel begins with a B or a W in singular, the plural should begin with an MB, or you just remove the U and add the M. Ubao becomes mbao. A board, boards. And it is a board for writing, the whiteboard of the blackboard, not a board for chopping things, a board for writing. Okay? And what about adjectives and numbers? For adjectives and numbers, in singular, you prefix an M. In singular, you prefix an M. For example, ubao mzuri. Ubao mzuri. A nice board. A nice board. And in plural, you prefix an N. You prefix an N. Mbao mzuri. Mbao mzuri. Mbao mzuri. Have you understood up to there? Have you understood up to there? Please tell me if you have understood up to there. Because I know this topic is a bit complicated, so I need to know if you have understood. Or if you have not understood, make sure you have written. Make sure you have written so that you will go and check. You will go and check your notes after this video. Ubao mzuri, mbao nzuri. Nice blackboard. Yes, exactly. Ubao mzuri, mbao nzuri. Exactly. Another one that we were talking about, and we have finished about adding MB. That is when a noun first consonant is a B or W, and when you have I or R, it is L or R. Thank you so much for understanding, Daniel. And if a noun begins with a consonant L or R, or the first consonant of the noun is L or R, the plural should have D. The plural should have D. An example, let's use the word ulimi. Ulimi. Ulimi is a tongue, the tongue. Ulimi. Ulimi is the tongue. So ulimi's first consonant is L. The first consonant of ulimi, it begins with an U. So you will know that is an UU noun class. But how do you figure out its sub-noun class? So this is how you figure it out. If it begins with an L or an R, a consonant, any noun that after the U, it has an L or an R, or maybe if it doesn't have the, if it is an adjective that doesn't have the U, of course, many adjectives don't have the U. If it is an adjective that doesn't have an U and it begins with an L or an R, its plural form should have an D. Let's use the noun ulimi first, and then we'll add an adjective and see how it will go. So who can guess the plural of the word ulimi? Ulimi, it should have an ND. It should have an ND. So you just remove the U and L and add and put an ND instead. You remove the U and L and put an ND instead. You remove the N, you remove the U and hello, the Tico polygon. The Tico polygon. Yes, exactly. It becomes dimi. Very good. Ulimi becomes dimi. I repeat the point I have said. If a noun begins, if a noun after the U, the letter that follows is L or R, the plural should begin with an ND. You omit the first two, not, they won't be two necessarily, but you omit them up to the letter that was there. For example, here it was L, so you will omit the U and the L. You omit those letters up to the letter that you have seen. You have seen this noun should be in this class. So in ulimi, you will omit the u and l and add the n and d to make it plural. So it will be ndimi. Ulimi, ndimi. So that's the plural. What if we want to add an adjective to the word ulimi? We want to say a long tongue. A long tongue. Long, the root adjective for long is refu. Refu. Long. Let me write it. Refu. Refu means, am I writing? Yeah. Long. I'm checking my pronouns, my writings here. You don't want to make more mistakes. So refu is long. So how can you say? Let's use it in the singular. And as I told you, in singular, as the first one that you have talked about, the any nouns with the b or w, in singular, you prefix an m. In singular, you prefix an m. In plural, there is where it changes between the b or w. With the b or w, you prefix an n. With the b or w, prefix an n. But here with the l or r, you prefix, with the l or r, it will be ulimi mrefu, and then ndimi, you prefix an nd. Ndimi ndefu. Ndimi ndefu. Okay? Ulimi mrefu, ndimi ndefu. A long tongue, long tongues. Long tongues. Ulimi mrefu, ndimi ndefu. I hope you have gotten that one. If you haven't understood, ask. If you haven't understood, ask. If you haven't understood, ask. Okay, let me continue as you prepare your question. When a noun has only one syllable after the u prefix, the nyi is prefixed to the whole word to make it plural. Yes, ulimi mrefu, that is the singular. Ulimi mrefu, singular. And then ndimi ndefu. Ndimi ndefu, plural. Ndimi ndefu, plural. And I'm very happy you guys are understanding, because the OO noun class is the toughest noun class to crack in Swahili. Kwa nini? Kwa sababu ina vingeli vingine vidogo ndani yake. Ina vingeli vingine vidogo ndani yake. Very good, the Tico polyglot. The Tico polyglot. So let me go. I hope you have gotten those points. I think they are 4 or 3 in this noun class that we have talked about, the UU noun class. Let me go to the next point. Very important, a very important point. When a noun has only one syllable. When a noun has only one syllable after the U. When a noun has only one syllable after the U. Of course, we'll know a noun class is in the UU noun class if it begins with an U. If it begins with an U. Always remember that. So here they are saying, when a noun class has only one syllable after the U prefix, the nyi is ny. Ny is the nyi in Swahili. Nyi is ny. So they are saying when a noun has only one syllable after the u prefix, the nyi is prefixed. The nyi is prefixed to the whole word to make it plural. So you don't remove any word, you just add nyi. An example is the word uso. Uso. It begins with an u, and then the next one is only one syllable. So So alone. Uso. Uso is a face. Okay, let's help Daniel first. Sorry, I'm a little confused. I don't want to waste class time, but maybe I'm not the only one who is confused. Tell us what is making you confused. We go through it right now. What is confusing you? What is confusing you? Is it with the ulimi and ndimi? Ulimi mrefu, ndimi ndefu? What is confusing you, Daniel? And it is good that you have said, because mimi husema kila wakati, usiondoke darasani kama haujui ulichokuwa ukisoma. Usiondoke darasani kama haujui ulichokuwa ukisoma. Don't get out of the class if you don't know what you are learning, especially now that you are learning a language. Especially now that you are learning a language. You won't have an exam, but you are the one who is going to struggle. So just ask so that you can be helped, because you won't have an exam, yes. Hautakuwa na mtihani, ndio. Lakini ni wewe utang'ang'ana peke yako. Lakini ni wewe utang'ang'ana peke yako. You won't have an exam, but you will be the only one you will struggle by yourself, or you will be the only one who will be struggling. No one will be there, because of course at some point you will need to communicate. Utahitaji kuzungumza kwa wakati mwingine, utahitaji kuzungumza, na wakati ambao utahitaji kuzungumza utataka kujua hivi vitu. Hautafanya mtihani, lakini utataka kujua hivi vitu. Je, utazungumzaje? How will you speak if you don't know? And you are not going to do an exam. So how will you do it? So make sure you are attentive and you ask the question, because it is up to you. Let's see. Remember, typing takes me time, and also there is a delay before you receive the message. Yes. What confuses me is that the rules for making plurals versus the rules for making adjectives in UZ. Okay, so I think I'm so thankful you said this, Daniel, so I'm going to repeat. I think the prefixes used for each are different, so I think you should write. So let me start with the B or W. With the B or W. Nouns that have a B as the first consonant. Of course, they begin with an U. But when the first consonant is a B or W, N takes MB in their plural. I'm talking about nouns. Nouns, N takes MB. And with L or R, it takes ND. Daniel, make sure you write the prefixes for this noun class. Is not like the other noun classes. Like the GMA you are saying, it takes the plural prefix is ma in everything or in anything. Use ma when you're using the GMA noun class. This one is not like the other noun classes, so it is different. Make sure you write every prefix in every point I mentioned, because the different points denotes different things that uses different prefixes. So that's why I was saying it is complicated. And because, and another reason, it is because it has some noun classes in it. So you need to be very keen. I understand why you might be confused, why you are confused. So let me repeat. With B or W, nouns that begins with B or W as consonants, because the nouns will always begin with an U. So when a B or W follows, the N, instead of putting an N prefix in its plural, use MB. And with L or R, use ND. And with other letter, the N disappears. An example we use is the word ubao. Ubao in singular. Ubao in singular. It starts with a B. So it will be mbao. Ubao, mbao. Ubao, mbao. A board, boards. A board, boards. And what is used in its adjectives? So you will say ubao mzuri. You prefix m in singular. Ubao mzuri. You prefix m in singular and not mb. Okay? In the plural of the noun itself, you prefix mb. Ubao, mbao. Ubao, mbao. But when you come to its adjective, you will say ubao mzuri. You prefix an m to the word zuri. Let's see. If the singular begins with B or W, the plural will begin with MB. If the singular begins with R or L, the plural will exactly. You are now getting the point. If the singular begins with anything else, the plural begins with N. No, the N is omitted. There is no N. The N is omitted. So I was talking about the ubao, mbao. So in the adjectives, you will prefix an M in singular, ubao mzuri. In plural, you will prefix an N, mbao mzuri. Mbao, it's good. It's good you are getting it, Daniel. So make sure you are writing this. MB, you prefix MB in the plural of the noun. And when you use it with an adjective, you prefix M in singular and N in plural. Ubao mzuri, mbao mzuri. Make sure you have written those three prefixes. Please. Make sure you have written those three prefixes. Let's go to the one beginning with L or R. L or R. And we were using the word ulimi. Ulimi begins with an L. Why are we saying it begins with an L? Because it is obvious it starts with an U. But the first consonant is an L. So we should consider it. It begins with an L. So we said for nouns beginning with L consonants, you should pluralize. You should make it plural by prefixing nd. So you'll remove the ul and prefix nd. Ulimi, ndimi. Ulimi, ndimi. Ulimi, ndimi. Ulimi, ndimi. A tongue, tongues. A tongue, tongues. Let's consider it with an adjective that has an R. Adjective that has an R. So it will be, let's use the adjective refu. Refu is long. Refu is long. So let's use the adjective refu. It will be ulimi mrefu. In singular, with the adjective, you prefix an M. In singular, you prefix an M. Ulimi mrefu. And in plural, you prefix ND. In plural, you prefix ND. Ndimi ndefu. Ndimi ndefu. What about the word? Let's use zuri as a prefix. Let's use zuri not as a prefix, as an adjective. It will be ulimi mzuri, a nice tongue. Ulimi mzuri. And in plural, it will be ndimi nzuri. Ndimi nzuri. So you only prefix nd when it begins with L or R. When it begins with L or R. And when it doesn't, you just use the N. When it doesn't, you just use the N. Like you can see the ulimi mzuri in singular. We have prefixed an M. In plural, ndimi nzuri. Ndimi nzuri. But when you use refu, it will be ndimi ndefu. Why? Because the adjective begins with an R. Because the adjective begins with an R. But zuri does not have an R or L. So you will prefix an N. You will prefix an N. Do you understand? Are you understanding? Are you understanding? Please tell me if you are understanding. Daniel, please tell me if you are understanding, because you are the one who asked this question. Please tell me if you are understanding. And after this class, make sure you go and peruse through your notes, check your notes, what we have learned, because it is not that easy to ndio dada. Asante sana the Tico polyglot. The Tico polyglot. Asante sana. Asante sana. I'm happy you have understood. Nimefurahi umeelewa, or nina furaha umeelewa. Daniel, have you understood? You are the one who asked the question. Swali lako ni gani? The Tico polyglot. Swali lako ni gani? Swali lako ni gani? Nzi mbaya. Iko sahihi? Ndio. Ndio. Lakini nzi ako kwenye ngeli ya awa. Nzi ako kwenye ngeli ya awa. Sasa hilo jina litasomwa kama nzi mbaya. Nzi mbaya. Nzi is not in this noun class. Nzi is a fly. A fly is a living thing. It is in the awa noun class. And we said if a living thing is dead, it goes to the easy noun class. Easy noun class. So you have written it very well. It is correct, iko sawa. But it won't be read because someone might read it as nzi mbaya, as I was reading it earlier. But it should be nzi mbaya. Nzi mbaya, because it is an hour mwa noun class. Asante sana Tico polyglot, kama umeelewa. I'm currently typing up what I think I understand of this topic. You may continue, and when I'm done typing, I will post what I've typed. Then please pause to tell me if I'm right or wrong. Okay, I will do that. I will do that, of course. So let's continue. When a noun has only one syllable, when a noun has only one syllable after the u prefix, we know most of the nouns that begins with u are in the u noun class. So when a noun has only one syllable after the u prefix, the ny, ny, the ny is prefixed to the whole word to make it plural. Why am I saying word? The ny is prefixed to the whole word to make it plural. For example, uso. 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 Uso is a face. A face. Uso. Let me write it. Uso. Face. Uso is a face. And we have said when a noun begins with an u, and the second word is a one word syllable, like we have so, it is only one, there is no any other word. So we have uso. And what is a syllable? A syllable is a consonant plus a vowel. A consonant plus a vowel, that is one syllable. Like this one, so is a syllable. Ma, me, mi, mo, mo. So these are examples of syllable. Ma, me, mi, mo, mo. So those are examples of syllable. It is a consonant plus a vowel. That is a syllable. A consonant plus a vowel. That is a syllable. So the word uso has u plus one syllable, which is so. Has u plus one syllable. And what have we said about those kinds of nouns? With those kinds of nouns, we pluralize them by prefixing a nya, a ni, ny, a ni, by prefixing a ni. So how will the plural of the word uso become? How will the plural of the word uso become? You prefix it with the prefix ni. You prefix it with ni without removing anything. You just prefix it a ni. Okay, let's see what's done. When the adjective begins with L or R, the ni prefix for singular and D prefix for plural. Yes. When the adjective begins with anything else, use m prefix for singular and ni. Yes. Yes. Note there are two parts to my post above. Please read both parts. Both of your parts are correct. You are very correct. You have gotten everything correctly. Or this one, adjective. I have read this one. You have read this one. It is correct, Daniel. They are correct. So that is a syllable ma, me, mi, mo, mu, and we are talking about uso. Uso has u plus a syllable, which is so. And we said with nouns like this, we prefix them with ni or nya, ny. You just prefix them to make them plural. You don't remove anything. So the plural of the word uso will be nyuso. Uso, nyuso. Uso, to, nyuso. Face, faces. The plural of the word uso will be nyuso. When a noun begins with when a noun has one syllable, begins with an u, and then the next letter is a syllable, or the next, I don't know, the next letter is a syllable, and it is one syllable. One syllable. Have you begun a new subject? Yes, yes. Let me reintroduce it. Let me reintroduce it to you. It says, when a noun has only one syllable after the o prefix. When a noun has only one syllable after the o prefix, the ni is prefixed to it to make it plural. For example, the word uso, the noun uso has only one syllable. After the u, we have u and then plus uso. So to make it plural, you will prefix it with nya or ni, ny. To make it plural, you will prefix it with nya. So it will be nyuso. It will be nyuso. Let's use another example. Apart from uso, we have the word uzi. Uzi is a thread. How have I written? I have written it wrongly. It should have an a. I'm sorry. So how do you think the plural of the word uzi should be, or should look like? Uzi is the same as, it is in the same noun class as the uso. So how do you think it should? How do you think it should look like? Uzi, uzi. How do you think it should look like? Because it starts with an u and then it has one syllable, which is z. It starts with an u and then it has one syllable. How do you think the plural should look like? Yes, music. Very nice, music. Music is the plural. Uzi, music. Uzi, music. And with this noun class, which prefixes do we use? I hope you have written that rule. I hope you have written that rule. So let me give you the prefixes to use to prefix to an adjective or a number. So with this noun, you, for example, let's say a nice thread. We'll say uzi mzuri. Uzi mzuri. So you prefix it with an M in singular. You prefix it with an M in singular. Uzi mzuri or uso mzuri. Uso msafi, a clean face. Uso msafi. Uso mzuri. Nyuzi, uzi mzuri. What about the plural? In the plural, you prefix it with an N. Uso, nyuso mzuri. Uso nyuso. Uso mzuri in singular. Nyuso mzuri. So you prefix an N. Nyuso mzuri. Nyuso mzuri. Nyuso safi. But there are other adjectives that there are other adjectives. Let me finish first. There are other adjectives that does not have the N prefix. But that one is natural. There is no other way that you can know these adjectives should have the N prefix in plural or not. For example, for the adjective safi, in plural, in singular, you will say uso msafi. Uso msafi. But in singular, you cannot say nyuso msafi. Nyuso msafi. It is just practical. It is just practical. You can use this rule that the nouns in the easy noun class, do that have, you can only add an N. You can only add an N before a Z, a D, a J, or a G. Like safi, we cannot add an N. So it will be uso msafi, nyuso safi. You leave it like that. Uso msafi, nyuso safi. You leave it like that. Uzi msafi, nyuzi safi. Nyuzi safi. You leave it like that. Let's see what Daniel has to tell us. I understand that this is probably the thread you use in sewing, but can this also be used for a thread in a discussion, like we do in English, like on a message? Yes, yes, it can be used all the way, the same way. Yeah, it can be used all the way the same way. So I hope you have understood what I have said about another Another noun that is used in this sub-noun class that we are talking about is ua. Ua. And this ua is not a flower. Ua. Ua for a courtyard. Ua for a courtyard. Ua, a fence. A fence. Ua. Ua is also used in this category, even though it doesn't have an u and a syllable like ma, z, so, something like that. It only has an a, so it is in this category. When you find the word ua, know the plural has ny, so you just prefix ny. Ua, nyua. Ua, nyua. Ua, nyua. Courtyard, courtyards. Ua, how will I say? Ua msafi. No. How will I say it? Ua, nyua. Ua mrefu. Ua mrefu. Ua ndefu. Ua mrefu, a long fence. A long fence. Ua mrefu, ua ndefu, long fences. Nyua, not ua. Nyua is the plural. Ua is the singular. Ua mrefu, nyua ndefu. Nyua ndefu. So those are the three most common nouns in that noun class. So I hope if you get a noun similar to those three, you will know how to deal with it. I hope if you get a noun similar to those three, you will know how to deal with it. Let's go to the last point. Let's go to the last point. Some words are used only in the singular. Some words are only used in the singular. Daniel, these are the nouns that I had told you. Oo has nouns that are only in the singular. We have learnt about the other nouns that are in the subnouns of the oo's of the oo that uses a singular and a plural. But here now we have the original oo noun plus nouns that are only used in the singular. They are only used in the singular. An example, and for you to note these nouns, just note the oo. Nouns beginning with an oo and they can't be separated. Nouns beginning with an oo and they can't be separated. They are only used in the singular in this part we are talking about. An example, we have usiku. Usiku, night. We have usiku, then we have usiku, night, usingizi, umeme, usingizi, umeme. Umeme is electricity or lighting. Usingizi is sleep. Then we have ulimwengu. Ulimwengu is the world. Ulimwengu. Umri. So as you can see, these noun classes, they have something in common. They begin with an u, and you cannot separate them. For example, you cannot separate sleep. You cannot separate sleep. You cannot separate a light. It was only God who separated light from darkness, but in reality, you cannot separate it. Like a human being cannot separate darkness. And it begins with an u. So it is an oo noun class. So the adjective infix is m in singular and n in plural. The adjective prefix is n. But these nouns we are talking about, they are only used in the singular. So how will the like they don't have the plural? I wanted to say how will the plural be formed. You cannot say usiku, mausiku or something. But you can find people saying mausiku, but that one is not proper Swahili. But I know you will find somewhere people saying mausiku, mausiku, manini, manini. People, many people, especially natives, like adding ma in most of the nouns. So something you should know is that there are some natives, there are also some natives who don't know about these noun classes. Yes, they know about these noun classes. They know there are noun classes, but they don't know specifically which noun belongs to which class. Like someone can come and tell you, mausiku zimeingia. Like it is out of Swahili. Like someone will say, mausiku zimeingia. Someone will come and tell you mausiku zimeingia, and when you look at that sentence, it is wrong. It is very wrong. There is nothing like mausiku. And usiku, you cannot use the noun usiku with z. You will use it with u because it is in the uu noun class. Usiku umeingia. Night has arrived. Usiku umeingia. Usiku umeingia. You cannot say mausiku zimeingia. It is very wrong. It is very wrong. but I assure you, you will hear someone saying that way. Mausiku, machakula, mavitu, makalamu. They like adding ma in each and every noun, even though it is not correct. They like adding ma and z, ma and z. So, and there's even no such noun class in Swahili, the ma and the z. No, but I don't know where people find it from. So be careful from that one. Be careful from that one. It even sounds odd. Mausiku zimeingia. Use usiku umeingia. Usiku umeingia in the nouns. I hope you have written those nouns, the samples of those nouns. The samples of those nouns. So let me go back to the word ugonjwa, the plural of the word ugonjwa. Ugonjwa, the word that I said, it is in the noun class, but it has a plural. Ugonjwa has a plural. Disease, diseases. Disease, diseases. So the plural of the word ugonjwa is in the the G noun class. The G Malia noun class. So let's see what he's saying. So wait a minute. There is no plural of usiku, or the plural is the same as usiku. Yes, there is no plural for usiku, or let's just say it is the same, because in English you can say night, nights, but in Swahili you still say usiku, usiku. Usiku umeingia, usiku umeingia. You won't change. Usiku umeingia, usiku umeingia. You won't change anything. There is no plural of usiku zimeingia or usiku whatever. Usiku umeingia, usiku umeingia. So this is the perfect noun class. The perfect noun class that you are asking about when we started about this noun class. Usiku umeingia, usiku umeingia. It doesn't change. Let me talk about this other noun class. I was talking about ugonjwa. Ugonjwa has a plural. Let's see, Daniel. Oh, so even the prefix for making the sentences is the same for singular and plural. Yeah, the prefixes are only m and the prefixes are only m. Usiku mzuri, usiku mzuri. I'm sorry for not giving the prefixes. Thank you so much for asking this question. Kupata usingizi mzuri. Yes. Yes, kupata usingizi mzuri. The prefixes for adjectives are only m. For example, usiku mzuri, usingizi mzuri, ulimwengu mzuri. Okay? All the way. All the way. Usingizi mnono, usingizi mtamu. Just use very simple, just like that. Kupata usingizi mzuri, very nice. The Chico polyglot. So let me finish talking about this, the last noun class in the last sub noun class in the noun class. I was talking about the ugonjwa. Ugonjwa is in the noun class, but in the uya sub noun class. Why is it in the uya noun class? Because its singular is in the noun class, but its plural is in the liya noun class. Kwa mfano, usiku umeingia mapema siku hizi. Usiku ndio kabisa, sentensi yako iko sawa, lakini kitu ambacho umekosea ni wakati. Ni wakati. Usiku unaingia mapema siku hizi. Usiku unaingia mapema siku hizi. Usiku unaingia mapema siku hizi. Very nice sentences. Usiku unaingia mapema siku hizi. Usiku umeingia mapema. When you use usiku umeingia mapema, you should not use siku hizi. You just use usiku umeingia mapema. Night has arrived early. but you shouldn't say night has arrived early these days. You should say night arrives early these days. Usiku unaingia mapema siku hizi. When you just want to say night has arrived early, you don't use nowadays, siku hizi. I was talking about the ugonjwa. Ugonjwa is in the uya noun class. A subnoun class which is in the uu. Why is it a subnoun class of the uu? Because its singular is in the uu and its plural is in the lia. So that forms uya noun class. So how can you guess the plural of the word ugonjwa to be? How do we form the plurals of the lia noun class, of the jima noun class? How do you form the plural? By prefixing a ma. You remove the first, what is it called? Because this one is an uu noun class and it starts with an u. So you'll remove the first vowel. You will remove the vowel and prefix a ma. You remove the vowel and prefix an ama. So the word ugonjwa will be magonjwa. Ugonjwa, magonjwa. Ugonjwa, magonjwa. This one is in the uu noun class, but in the subnoun class of the uya. Why is it in the subnoun class of uya? Because its singular form is in the uu, but its plural form is in the lia. So it makes the uya noun class. Uya noun class. Okay? Uya noun class. Which prefixes do you use with adjectives or numbers? For example, ugonjwa mbaya. Ugonjwa mbaya. So you can see the prefix is m. M in the singular. Ugonjwa mbaya, a bad disease. Ugonjwa mbaya, a bad disease. What about the plural? We use the lia plural. The lia plural. How do we make plurals in the lia? By just adding ma in the noun, numbers, or adjectives. So it will be magonjwa mabaya. Magonjwa mabaya. Ugonjwa mbaya, magonjwa mabaya. So that is the other subnoun class that is in the uu noun class. That is in the uu noun class. Ugonjwa mbaya, magonjwa mabaya. Another noun is ugomvi. 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 Magomvi. Magomvi. Ugomvi. It is called ugomvi, magomvi. Ugomvi is a quarrel. Ugomvi is a quarrel. And its plural will be magomvi because it is in the uya noun class. A subnoun class in the uu noun class. Ugomvi, magomvi. A quarrel, quarrels. Ugomvi mbaya. Ugomvi mbaya. Ugomvi mbaya. A bad quarrel. Magomvi mabaya. Magomvi mabaya. Magomvi mabaya. Okay? Any question? Ask any question that you have. Ask any question that you have. Ask any question that you have. Any question, anything that you have not understood. So we go through it again. Any question that you have not understood, we go through it again. Because this is the end of the noun classes. So ask any question that you have not understood. We go through it now. Usitoke kama haujaelewa. especially the noun classes that we have studied today in this session. Usitoke kabla haujaelewa. Tafadhali elewa. Tafadhali elewa. I'm understanding, but I'm taking notes like mad. I have 6 pages. Yeah, that's good. It's good to take notes, and when you have those notes, when you are revising your notes, make sure you compress them so that you can continue understanding. So that when you see a noun, you will exactly know from which noun class it is. From which noun class it is. And let me give you a secret on how I know from which noun class a noun is. First of all, I use it with the descriptives. You know how to form the these, that, those in Swahili. So that's how I do it. I use it with the descriptives. For example, I will come. Let's use the word ugonjwa. So I will come and say ugonjwa huu, magonjwa haya. Ugonjwa umeisha, magonjwa yameisha. So I will know it is in the uya noun class. Totally. Kwa mfano, msichana anashughulika na magonjwa. Magonjwa, not mgonjwa. Mgonjwa is in the our noun class. And you have not written it well. It should be mgonjwa, n. It should be an n instead of an m. If you say msichana anashughulika na mgonjwa mbaya, yes, correct, in the our noun class. A girl is dealing with a bad patient. A girl is dealing with a bad patient. Msichana anashughulika na mgonjwa mbaya. That is very good. The Tico polyglot. Ugomvi mbaya. No, magomvi mabaya. Magomvi mabaya. It is in the li. The plural is in the liya noun class. The singular is in the noun class. That's why it is in the ya noun class. Singular, ya plural. Ugomvi mbaya, magomvi mabaya. Wabaya is in the our noun class. Wa. Don't use wa here. Ugomvi mbaya, magomvi mabaya. Good, you have noticed your mistake. It's good that you have noticed your mistake. It's good that you have noticed your mistake. Etiko polyglot. Msichana, ugomvi mbaya, magomvi mabaya. Yes, exactly. Good, nice. Nice. Now you are understanding things. That's very good. And is the most complicated noun class. So kama umeielewa, hizo zingine zitakuwa mboga kwako. Kama umeielewa, hizo zingine zitakuwa mboga kwako. If you have understood it, the others will be easier for you. Kuwa mboga is something easy. Kuwa is something easy. I mean, kuwa mboga is something easy. So I'm telling you, if you have understood the noun class, and it is the most complicated noun class in the Swahili, the others will be easier for you. Zingine zitakuwa mboga kwako. Rahisi. Because has some sub-noun classes that you have gone through. So please ask the questions. And today I don't think I'm going to give out the questions, because you guys need to ask the questions and then I will answer, instead of me asking the question and you writing the answers. So let's do it the other way, because the time is not on our side. So you please ask the questions. Tafadhali ulizeni maswali. Tafadhali ulizeni maswali. Tafadhali ulizeni maswali. Niulizeni maswali. Make sure you have understood these noun classes, especially the uu. Uliza kitu chochote ulicho nacho. Uliza anything that you are doubting, ask. Anything that you have doubts, ask. Chochote unachokishuku, kiulize. Chochote unachokishuku, kiulize. Utasaidika. Chochote unachokishuku, kiulize. Utasaidika. And talking about asking questions, you asking questions, you can also tell me which, okay. Talking about asking questions, you can also tell me which topic or which part or which thing you would like us to discuss the next time we are live. Yes, ugonjwa mbaya, magonjwa mabaya. Ugonjwa mbaya, magonjwa mabaya. Mnaweza kuniambia kitu ambacho tunaweza, unasema kweli. Asante. Mnaweza kuniambia kitu ambacho tunaweza kuzingatia katika video yetu ijayo kwenye live, vitu ambavyo tunaweza kuzingatia, au mada ipi tunaweza kuzungumzia. Niambieni. Which topic or which thing do you find difficult to understand that only alive, asking questions and getting the notes one-on-one will make you understand it better? Just write it. Kiandike tu hapa so that we can live in a few minutes. Andikeni na wangoja tu. Andikeni tafadhali. Please write. Kama mmeelewa hizi nomino, if you have understood these noun classes, or not even understanding, if you have written the notes, you will definitely understand. If you have written the notes, you will definitely understand. Because the problem is the notes. How can you identify this noun class is from? How can you identify this noun is from this noun class? How can you make it plural? Which is the prefixes you can use for adjectives or numbers? How can you form sentences with it? That is the hardest part. But if you already have the notes, by the time this year is over, by the time December is over, you are going to understand them. So tumesema Kiswahili kina nomino sita. Swahili has 6 noun classes. Let's see what Dan has said. Here are some things I would like to learn more about. 1, the YSE. What is two various uses of it? What is YSE of ambayo? YSE of ambayo, ambacho, etc. And the alternative, adding an infix like yo, cho, etc. directly into the verb. Okay, let me write that. Where am I going to write? Suggested. Ambayo, ambavyo, ambalo. What's this? Use or use. Here are some things I would like to learn about. First, the use of ambayo, ambacho, etc. and the alternative. Adding an infix like yo, cho, etc. directly to the verb. I will write notes about that one and I will come with it in the next. We will discuss that topic in the next line. We will discuss that subject in the next line. In our next line. In our next line. You have any questions? Mna maswali yoyote? So if you don't have any questions, it means mmeelewa nomino za Kiswahili. Si nomino, mmeelewa ngeli. Ama mtaelewa. You have understood the Swahili Noun class or you will understand because you have the notes. Because you have the notes. So I'm glad that you have understood. Nimefurahi kuwa mmeelewa or you are going to understand because of course I know that it is not easy understanding something at first. Maybe when you are a genius, maybe you can understand something at first sight or at the first glance. I have seen that you can sometimes drop me. I have seen that sometimes you can drop me. Like when saying nakupenda, you don't have to say ninakupenda, but I've also seen, I think so anyway, equivalence with uasi is not. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. That one is used especially people feel tired. It is just a form of not very character. Okay, people use that because it is not grammatically, like it is not in the Swahili textbooks. It is not in the Swahili textbooks, but it is in our day-to-day life. People use that because we all like shortcuts. We all like shortcuts. We all like, welcome so much, Rebecca. Welcome so much, Rebecca. Let me finish with Daniel first. We all like shortcuts. So instead of someone saying ninakupenda, they will say nakupenda. But the first one is the correct one. I mean, they are both correct, but the first one is the one used in Swahili. Kwaheri, the Tiko polyglot. Kwaheri sana. Asante kwa kujiunga. Rebecca. Rebecca, I hope you have gone through the video for the descriptives, the these, those, that, because you are the one who suggested that video, but the day we were discussing on that video, you are not here. You are not in the live, so you didn't ask the questions. So I hope you watched the video and you understood. Hey Koni, leo nimechelewa, natazama video hii kuanzia mwanzo baadaye. Sawa. Karibu, karibu, karibu. So I think Daniel, you have gotten why people use nakupenda instead of ninakupenda. It's just a shortcut. It is not in the Swahili textbooks. It is just a shortcut. And so next time we are going to talk the ambayo, ambalo, ambacho. Yeah, those things. Thank you so much guys for attending. And I think should we end the lesson or should we end this session? Or what other question do you guys have about the Swahili noun classes? Or what suggestion do you have? Just comment down. Namba yako ya WhatsApp ni gani? Nataka kujoin WhatsApp. Oh, namba yangu ya WhatsApp. Okay, acha nikupatie ni plus. And then another thing +254 7 0 Tuonane, that is my number. Tuonane Daniel. Another thing something I wanted to tell you, Rebecca, specifically. We have a Discord channel. We even had what is it called? A conversation. We read a paragraph yesterday. Yesterday was Sunday, right? Yeah, we read a paragraph yesterday. So that Discord channel has notes, it has a place for questions, it has a place for phrasal verbs, intermediate, beginner, advanced. It has all those parts. And then every weekend, Saturday or Sunday, we will be having a conversation, a talk. We will be reading and reviewing some Swahili simple things. So like last Sunday, yesterday, we were with Ibrahim and Daniel, and we read a paragraph in Swahili, and it was nice. It was nice. So I would like you guys to join the Discord channel so that you can benefit more from it, because it has notes, it has beginner, advanced, intermediate, it has phrasal verbs, it has a place for fun, it has songs, it has listening, it has a lot of things more than the privileges of full tap. So I would encourage you to join. And until next time, goodbye. Mola awabariki. Mungu awabariki. Asanteni sana.